Antonio Brew here with Perceptive Outdoors. In this video, we're going to be going into part 2 of the AGM ASP Micro TM 160. This is the new handheld binocular, and this is going to be part 2 of the clips that I've been doing. Just been taking random clips, and real quick, one of the big questions that I've been getting is how far can you identify a deer with this thing, or can you identify a deer at 100 yards? Stay tuned, we're going to get into that. We'll see you in a second. So here I was near a preserve. That's white hot. That is probably 40 yards on white hot, or actually red hot. You can see it changes red, and then the little green plus signs, that's just a setting that you can turn on the scope to help you pick up heat signatures a little bit better. So that's black hot, and you're gonna see me. Basically, I just picked these deer up out the side of the window when I was driving. I didn't even see them with my headlights, and then I picked them up, and then I start pulling away, and I go to about 50 yards, and that's going to be about 50 right there, 50 to 75. And then you're going to see me in a second. I'm going to pull up even further, go to 100. So can you ID a deer at 100 yards with this unit? It's very iffy. I mean, at this point right there, the two deer are there. They're not, that's closer than 100 for sure. They're in short grass, but if they're not broadside, they're going to be hard to ID. Now, you can definitely tell they're deer there. I can. But you definitely want to have a positive ID, I mean 100%, before you ever take a shot on anything. So now I'm pulling out to 100, and what I did here was it was dark, and I just could see the pole with my rangefinder, my day rangefinder, so I ranged it. It was 100 yards. You definitely can't, I mean, you can see the heat signatures there, and that's the fusion pallet. I'm flipping through the pallets. You can definitely see the heat signatures there, but you can't tell that those are deer if you didn't know. Well, I already know, but you know, I'm gonna say that the positive identification range on this thing is, 75 yards and less. And that's just what I'm going to go with from the experience that I have with it so far. So I got about 8 minutes of these, but I shortened it down because I got a bunch of clips I want to show. So the next clip, I was riding down a dirt road, and there was a farmer field similar to the one I hunt. Now if you look to the right there underneath the red, you'll see that thing hopping off. That's actually a coyote. That coyote was pretty much trying to stalk those deer. I've hunted across the street from this place before, coyote hunted, and there definitely was a coyote in the field doing the same thing. So there's 3 deer there. You can see in the front, they start to move. I'm just stopped right there on the side of the road. They realize that I'm not going to do anything to them, and they stop. That thing on the right, the big white thing, I'm not sure, it's some piece of farmer equipment. And then the black thing in the back has got to be some kind of water tank or something like that. That's black hot. So those 3 deer right there are about 150 yards out. The reason why I know that is because whenever I zoom back out, there's an oak tree to the right of them, and I could definitely see that with my rangefinder. And I ranged it, and it was at 125, and they are definitely behind that oak tree. And then in a second, you're going to see off to the left, way off to the left, there's another deer that I didn't even see originally that I pick up just whenever I scroll to the left. Now this is going through the zooms and stuff as well, different color palettes. Obviously the zoom gets crazy whenever you go all the way in. You can see that deer to the left. But my whole thing was just to, record and show you different things that this thing would do. But there's the deer to the left. He's pretty good ways out there. He's probably a little bit further than they are, probably 175, maybe 200. You can tell he's a little further back. But that was just a cool thing that I did really quick. I rode by and actually just happened to shine the field with the thermal and saw him. So on to the next clip. This one basically, that is a hayfield at my buddy's place. We went coyote hunting, and that deer is at a feeder, and he's about 150 yards. I actually ranged him with my ATN X-Sight 4K with my rangefinder. And then there's 3 more deer right there. They are at 258 yards. I ranged those as well. And you definitely cannot tell if those are deer or cows or whatever. I know they're deer because I positively ID'd them in my ATN night vision scope. But a couple of the next clips here, we were just out coyote hunting on Friday night, and there was a lot of deer out. So the next one, this one's on white hot, and those 2 deer are at 123 yards. We were calling and they just popped right out of the woods. They were little yearling fawns or yearling does, and 123 yards. And then this clip, this deer was at 150 yards. I could see its eyeballs. I ranged it, but it is way up in the woods. There's a bunch of woods there. I would never be able to pick that out with my scope normally, but I was able to pick it up with the thermal. This was a rabbit that we rode up on. He was probably about 20 yards in front of us. We rode up on him, and I wasn't sure what it was. You'll see me point at him and tell my buddy, and then he gets his pulsar out and checks him, and it's a rabbit, and he hops off. That was pretty cool. Got that on video. You can definitely tell it's a rabbit the way he hops off. But again, you know, hard to ID stuff with this thing. I mean, it's just more for picking up heat signatures. I was hog hunting probably 3 or 4 mornings ago, and there were definitely hogs across the field. That was 400 yards, and you can definitely see a heat signature at 400 there, no problem. Now there was 4 hogs there, and I actually ranged those with my ATN as well. I could see them clearly, and then I started to push up on them. This is with black hot, and you can definitely see them there. Black hot shows up a little bit better than white hot, but still very hard to see at 400. I would say detection maximum is 400. Then I'm going to push up on them. I'm walking towards them. This was around 300 yards, black hot, and there were 4 pigs there. And by this time it's probably a little after daylight. I'm trying to push up to them with my ATN, my 6.5 Grindle, and my tripod, and I got the monocular. It was a very tough deal, and I'm out in an open field, so they were on their way to the tree line anyways. You can see my rifle there. I did not need the light, and this is at 200 yards, and then they are still pushing towards the trees, and that was at 175 yards right there. And then I pushed up one more time, hoping to get a good shot on them, and they disappeared by the time I got to them. So I know they were headed to the trees anyways, but. All right, well, thanks for watching. I hope this gives you a little bit more insight on what this thing can do. Again, in my opinion, you should definitely use it for detection. I mean, you could probably ID a deer at 100, but it has to be an ideal scenario where there's no shrubs and the deer is broadside. So for me, I'm just using it for detection, and I mean the ID part is just a bonus if you can, but I have a night vision anyway, so it doesn't matter. I just use it to detect, and then I get on it with my night vision scope. So thank you for watching. Thanks for all the subscribers. If you've subscribed already, I appreciate you. We just broke 50, which is kind of a cool little milestone for me as well. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. I definitely appreciate it. Got a lot more new content. If you have any content that you want me to make, drop a comment below. I'm always open for new stuff, and I'm always trying to get new stuff to do videos on as well. And drop a like if you liked the video. If you didn't like it, drop a dislike. I don't care. And we will see you on the next video.